Hi, my name's Claire Dreyer, and I am with the Florida SBDC Network.
I'm Kevin Monahan with the Florida SBDC Network. Today, I'm here to talk to you about networking. Networking is a kind of a hidden skill. There's an art to it. And I think it's frequently neglected in the business community. People are always talking about marketing. People are talking about finance, keeping the books, bookkeeping in general. But the skill set of how to network, how to work a room, how to meet other people, and get them to listen to you and listen to them and make connections is a really, really important business skill. So what is networking? Networking at its simplest is simply making a small world even smaller. By getting out there and interacting with the community, you're going to meet people, have mutual ideas, help each other, create connectivity, and your business will make more money. There's two reasons that people don't network enough. One is fear. They hide behind social media, or they'd say, well, I just don't have the time for it. It's an important tool, and it's a big part of the sales process. So you really need to get out there and network. And we're going to show you today just how to do that.
Overall, some of the goals that we have for networking is, one is you want to be seen as an expert. The other is that you need to take an active part in your community. And you also need to be seen as a resource for others within your community. So here's some reasons why you might want to network. You want to maintain relationships with your current customers, meeting new prospects, getting some referrals and some new pre-qualified prospects, and getting the word out about what problems that you actually solve. And then, of course, we want to help other people get more of what they want.
Now the concept of weathering comes to fore. If you're new to a community, no one knows you. Even if you changed jobs recently, you have to, what I call, re-weather again. Weathering is getting the world to know you, who you are, what you're about, and that you're not going away. I currently work for the Florida SBDC. That's what I want to be known as. That's what I want the world to know. I also need them to know that I'm not going away anytime soon. I like what I do, and I'm very good at what I do. Personal branding is an important part of networking. You want to create a cachet, a reputation. It's a state of being respected. And this takes a little while. All of the networking points that I'm making so far are incremental. They take time. But be patient in your networking because it will come back and you will do a lot better in business as a result of it.
So there's really two types of networking. You have social networking and you have face-to-face networking. We're going to talk about those because a lot of people want to hide behind social networking to keep them from going out and doing what we have called face-to-face networking, where you actually are looking into someone else's eyes. So social networking, why do we do social networking? Again, it addresses that issue of fear. It's easy to hide behind social networking because we're afraid to go out and talk to people face to face. We think that it saves time, but it actually may take more time than actually going out and meeting a person. When we're doing social networking, we also have to make sure we know exactly what to write. How are you speaking to your ideal client? Where are you going to put it? Are you going to try to put it out on every single social media networking site? Well, where does your ideal client hang out? If they're not on Twitter, why would you have to feel like you have to post 10 tweets a day? So it's really knowing about who your ideal client is and then finding where they are, and that's where you're going to put your social content. So just being on social media platforms, which ones do you want to be on? You might want to be on LinkedIn. You might want to be on Facebook. Again, it gets back to where's your ideal client hang out? That's where you want to hang out too, because you want to create the conversation. So let's talk about face-to-face networking. Face-to-face networking is going to an event and you're looking into someone else's eyes, and it's not about just handing out your business card. So a lot of times, some of the reasons that people don't go out face-to-face networking is because they don't know where to go. So here's just some ideas of some places that you can go to where you can find other people. Again, the places that you want to go network is where your ideal client is going to hang out. If you're looking to meet CEOs, I promise you they're probably not going to be at the local networking chamber event, or they may not be at a meetup. So you really have to think strategically, where are those people hanging out? And then you want to go to those events as well. Now, how do you work a room? Again, when we come back to the networking piece, you want to go with a strategy in mind. You want to go with a goal. So you need to know who's going to be there. Is there some way to find out? Can you find out if there's a roster of people that are going to be attending? Maybe you can get that in advance. You may have just a goal to meet 1 or 2 or 3 particular people. So you might go in and ask, does somebody know somebody, and ask for a strategic introduction to that person. Because when we're working a room, it's not about going and doing that spray and pray marketing where you're just handing out business cards to every single person that you meet. It's about really getting to know that other person. And again, how do you sell or talk about your business, as well as finding out what they do so you can help introduce them to other people as well. That's really one of the keys to networking and working a room. Now, we do have an networking event checklist. How many times have you gone to a networking event and you're searching in your pockets and you go, oh, I forgot my business cards. I left them out in the car. Not a good thing. So let's go through these and make sure you have those things in order. You're going to need your business cards. You need to dress appropriately. What's the event? Who's going to be there? How are they expecting you to be dressed? You want to be dressed the same way. Again, if you have something that has pockets, it really makes it convenient to put your business cards in one pocket and put the business cards you're collecting in another pocket. That way you don't go and you pull out a stack of business cards. Oh, sorry, that's John's. Oh, that's Mary's. Now, where's mine? So that's just another little tip that you can use. Name tags is a really key piece. You want to put your name tag on your right lapel. And the reason is you extend your hand out to shake someone's hand, and the eye is automatically going to look up to your shoulder, and that's where your name tag goes. A lot of people don't know that. You also want to have some sort of calendar or planner with you, because the key goal of networking is just to move your relationship forward one step. Just one step. So if you can pull out your smartphone or whatever device you use for networking, and you say, gosh, I really have enjoyed meeting you, Mary. I'd love to sit down and have coffee with you. When would be a good time for us to meet? That's your whole goal, just moving it one step. But if I don't have my calendar with me, I can't do that. And I want to get that meeting scheduled right then if I can. Putting your cell phones on vibrate, the worst thing is, again, being in that networking event and having it go off. We want to make sure that we're really focused on that. And then making sure that we have some sort of positive attitude. Even if you're scared, just know that your other people in the room are scared too. So, go with that positive attitude and a friendly face. And then most importantly, try to make a plan. Why are you going? Who's going to be there? What would you like to have as one key result that you'd like to have as a result of going to that networking event?
Practice a 15-second summary statement about what you do, who you are, what you do, and the problem that you solve. And believe me, don't make it any more than 15 seconds. You won't get any more time than that to get your message across. 88% of people identify themselves as shy in some circumstances. And there's ways of getting around that. First of all, understand that other people want to meet you. So don't be afraid. Go up to somebody and start a conversation. If you see somebody off to the side, that might be because they're shy as well. Go over and shake their hand and introduce yourself. Another way to overcome shyness is to actually volunteer at the event that you're going to. Maybe you can work the table with the other people and get to meet a lot of people the nice and easy way to network. Ask open-ended questions of people. Not only are some people shy, but other people are actually not great networkers. Not everybody is. But to pull answers out of them, use questions like, how did you get into this profession? What type of client is your dream client? Why do people choose your company over the competition? Things that can't be answered with a simple yes or no. If the whole room is introducing themselves, which is very common at networking events, have something to say. Get up when they're introducing around the table and introduce yourself to the entire crowd, which they frequently do. Or if it's just around the table, let people know what you have to offer. And if two of you are there representing the business that you have, each of you should say something different about the company.
The best networkers are the biggest listeners. So, how do we start with networking? We want to think about what it is that we want to say, think about the questions we want to ask the question, and then, this is the biggest part that's the hardest. Be quiet. Open your ears. Listen. Really listen to what the other person is telling you. Because if you do 80% of the listening, really active listening, then you're going to be able to help that person get what they want, as well as they're going to start asking you some questions too. So be a really good listener. Be a resource for people. It's so wonderful when you have somebody who, you're meeting for the first time and you say, oh my gosh, I know somebody who has that exact thing that you need. And then you walk them over and make that strategic introduction. So when you can be the resource, then you're also the go-to person when somebody needs something. So be a resource for other people. Only give out cards when or if someone's asked for one. Or if you're going to give a referral, that's a beautiful time to give a card. So take out your card, write down that referral name for someone, and if they're in the room, walk them over, still with your card, because you want to make sure that they remember who made the introduction, just in case they lose the card or they can't find that some person later. So that's a really great, beautiful opportunity to do that. And if you're offering support to someone, that's a great time to give a business card. Remember, we don't want to do the spray and pray marketing where we're just dealing cards out to everybody. Don't be a hummingbird. Don't try to flit around the whole room, making connections with everybody. If you went home from a networking event and you made 2 or 3 really strategic, great connections, isn't that better than saying, oh, I collected 50 business cards and no one really knows me and I don't really know them? Have you ever got home and you're going through the cards and go, now who was that? We don't want to be that person. Remember, set goals for yourself during each networking event and try to meet a certain amount of people. Maybe you want to aim for 5, but set that target, that you want to have, and then make sure that you're following up with the appointments. One of the worst things you can do is go meet somebody, say you're going to follow up, and you don't. Because guess what you're doing? You're demonstrating to people how you're going to treat them once you start doing business with them. Or will they do business with you? Make sure you schedule those appointments and make sure to follow through. And avoid too much small talk. It's easy to start talking about sports or, our family and our kids, but maybe we've forgotten how to, or come back to talk about that business thing. If we're going to a business networking event, we can do a little bit of small talk, but we also need to make sure we balance that between small talk and business. Don't spend too much time with the people that you came with or that you already know. I know we hear this over and over all the time, but you already know them. Now, one time you might want to do that is if you're doing strategic introductions. So maybe that Kevin and I go to a networking event and I can go over and I meet, Bob. And I say, Bob, I'd love to introduce my friend Kevin. Kevin is an expert in social media. Maybe you have some contact there. So it's easy for me to do a third-party introduction, and that would be a way where you would want to go and tag team kind of with your buddy. Watch your consumption of alcohol, and also be careful of your consumption of caffeine. If you're nervous to start with and you start drinking caffeine, guess what happens? You're going 90 miles an hour. And be sure, don't gossip, because that will follow you later.
Follow up, follow up, follow up. Keep your contacts up to date. Surprise your contact by emailing them the next day. Send a note if you're up to it. People love getting notes in the mail. Engage them via social media, and by all means, set up another meeting with them. Some final thoughts on networking. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. Networking means never having to say you're in business alone. So happy networking, and have a great day.